Detroit Lions head coach Dan Campbell has 3 big things he wants to see out of the Detroit Lions against the Chicago Bears, and they're all pretty achievable. Let's talk about it. Hi, it's Mike Payton from A to Z Sports Detroit. Let's jump right into it. Talk about the first thing that Dan Campbell wants to see from the Lions, and that is red zone efficiency. Now, I know that everybody wants to believe that the Lions offense was the worst thing that had ever happened in the history of Detroit sports on Sunday, but it really wasn't that bad. They were able to get the things done that they wanted to do to get into the red zone. The problem is, once they got there, they couldn't score. They went 1 of 4 in the red zone. Packers scored almost every time they went down there. They only got there 5 times, by the way. It's not like the Packers were just completely blowing the Lions out here, guys. I know everybody wants to think that's what happened, but it's not. If the Lions could simply create scores out of some of those red zone opportunities, they're going to be just fine. If the Lions score twice in that game against the Packers, 2 more times, they're tied 27-27. We're possibly talking about a whole other game because the Lions defense did play a lot better in the second half. Maybe they could have won that thing, but things just went wrong. So you go fix those problems. Who knows what you see on the other side? The other thing is Dan Campbell wants to cut out all the missed assignments and work on communication. This was a big one. You saw a lot of the offensive line kind of going in different directions and doing all kinds of different things, not killing when they're supposed to be killing. A lot of that is because, as Dan Campbell said on Monday morning, guys just weren't hearing the calls out there. They were not hearing the audibles, the kills, or anything. A lot of the guys were just kind of wrapped up. Tate Ratledge said it was all because they were trying to work on the silent count, and it just didn't work. It didn't work. Simple as that. So the Lions got to go and fix that. They have to cut out these missed assignments. Everybody needs to try to be where they're at. Campbell just wants to cut them in half. It's impossible to be perfect out there, but if you just cut them in half, that makes a big difference. Guys making blocks where they're supposed to be making blocks, guys catching balls where they're supposed to be catching balls, and you have yourself a game that you can win. So just cut out those bad things and cut them in half, and you'll be good to go. The last one is one you've heard about all summer long, takeaways. Dan Campbell wants to get takeaways. And the Lions had a couple of opportunities. Brian Branch had an unbelievable pick 6 in this game, but it was called back because of some foolish things that were fouls in this game, but not in the game against Washington. But that doesn't matter. We're not going to get totally into that. The point is takeaways. The other one, another really good example of a missed opportunity. Aiden Hutchinson comes in, gets pressure on Jordan Love, gets him off his spot. He's got to make a bad throw. Alex Anzalone has the ball in his hands and drops it. You get that pick, it's a whole nother game. You get a pick in the red zone. You could turn around and put another touchdown on the board. You could, or try at least get a field goal or something. They need takeaways. They want to capitalize on those takeaways. That's what Dan Campbell's looking for. Takeaways, red zone efficiency, better communication. You get those 3 things, the Lions will beat the Chicago Bears on Sunday.